I'm going to try and tell you guys my experience with the white light so that you could at least start to ponder whether or not you should go into the light or you shouldn't. And I'm going to give you a foolproof way of discovering, or at least figuring out, if you should go into the light in the first place. You all know her. I had sessions with her on my YouTube channel, Kelly in the Raw, where we talk about astral projection and sometimes aliens, alien implants, and other things of the supernatural world. She has had her fair share of experiences, especially with this act of deception, trying to force people to reincarnate with the white light. She talks about it where she saw some sort of blue being, and her relationship with the white light, you know, what we see after we die, is not a good one because of her negative experience. However, I've only got positive experiences to pull from when it comes to the white light. So I want to tell you guys how to know which light to go into. The first time I saw the white light, I talk about it on my YouTube channel, was a week after I died. A physical death in this dimension. I drowned in a local quarry in one of the nearby towns. And coming back after that ordeal, I was pretty traumatized for one, not in a negative way, so I probably shouldn't call it traumatization, more like an awakening. I knew what I wanted to do in life because I knew that I was wasting my time. I had this plan, always, at the back of my mind of what I should be doing, but I just never did that plan. Dying put everything into perspective for me. And then I found myself astral projecting, and that was the first time I encountered this white light. However, this was not the false white light. This is how I knew that it wasn't fake. When you're in the astrals, everything is done by feeling. You feel everything, everyone's intent. No one can hide their intent. They could try, but it's not going to work. When I projected the intent from this white light, it was so powerful, it was so pure, it was so clean. It seemed to be the only way to go. It seemed to be the only destination, the final destination for my soul to merge with. And I say merge with because the second time I had an experience with the white light, it was when I had taken DMT, dimethyltryptamine. Okay, the States, around the world actually, they call it a Class A drug. Really, it's just a substance you already created within your pineal gland anyway. That's what allows most people to astral project or see the future and do all these other mystical things. But when you take it externally from a plant and you up the dosage that already pre-exists within your body, you start experiencing things which you otherwise wouldn't have experienced, not unless you had died beforehand. So, I did DMT, and I experienced a breakthrough. Not just a breakthrough in the term or the word of success, but a breakthrough in the sense that my ego got ripped away from who I thought I was, which was this character. It just got torn to pieces. Now that may sound terrifying, but trust me, when you live in this world and you honestly do believe that you are your character, it gives you a new perspective on life when you realize that you can exist being something else, that original you which you forgot about, the you was before you were human, before you were born into this life. When I experienced my breakthrough, I ended up dodging, I say dodging because I was inside of this, it looked like a 2D field, or a 2D maze, made out of sacred geometry. The landscapes in these other dimensions, once you pass on, are made out of a different kind of energy. It's not matter, it's like the energy behind matter. When you take DMT and you keep your eyes open, you start to see the energy behind this physical reality. Well, there are realities just comprised out of that energy. And I got sat down next to this table, and this woman drew my attention to the pattern on the table, which became vastly, vastly more complex than it already was. That sucked me in. It was like a hypnosis, a form of hypnosis. Before I knew it, I was sucked into the table. Kind of Alice in Wonderland type scenario, only this was more cartoony. Like I said, it was more of like a 2D world formed out of sacred geometry. And as I went into this wormhole of sorts, I slightly blacked out. Not fully, I was still aware, but I lost all sense of where I was, my orientation. And as I became aware of this new location that I was in, I found myself walking towards, you guessed it, a bright light. As I was walking towards this bright light, my sense of individuality vanished, and my headspace, how I was thinking, changed to a different mode. I felt like I was the light and that I was walking towards myself. And that's where I needed to be. That's where I was supposed to be in the first place. Like I was coming back home. All feelings of fear and loneliness disappeared, separated. Because to be lonely, you need to have the concept of individuality, or at least the perception of self. I wasn't there when I was walking towards this light. It just vanished. And it seemed like that was the only place that could give me peace, because that's all that naturally existed in the first place. But in separating from that larger part of myself, I made the world more complex than it actually was, just to experience individuality within this dream. I got there, I merged in the end with the higher me, the source consciousness, or what other people could call God. And I just floated in me, and everything made sense. I felt fine. And ever since I remembered that, I came back here into this vessel with that memory of what I had just discovered within that plane of existence, that existence of thought. It gave me a different perspective on life. Things don't bother me anymore because I see the large picture. I felt the larger picture. I was there in the beginning, and time and space warps to the point where time doesn't exist, because it never did exist. That was just a perception that people who live in this reality have, because you need that perception of time to experience 3D. So how to figure out if you're approaching the right light, you're not being deceived? Well, we feel everything in the astrals. You feel someone lying to you in 3D, we'll ramp that up by about 3,000 fold, and you're going to be able to tell whether or not this light is real or not. I just told you, it should feel like a reflection of you, the you that you're going to find once your ego is torn to pieces. You'll remember what it's like to be nothing more than soul. No influences, no characters, just divinely, purely you. And if it feels like a reflection, then you're heading in the right direction. And that rhymed, and that was not done on purpose. But it sounded pretty cool, huh? So yeah, that's how you're going to tell if it's the right thing or not. Now, if it feels like you're being deceived, if there's someone around you that's deliberately trying to make the decision for you, trying to influence your decision making, then scan that person's energy. Are they lying to you? And if they are, don't go into the light. I'm Ryan JC. This has been your potential. Subscribe for more info on things like this. Leave a comment below if you've ever seen this light. Most of us who have astral projected are fortunate enough to have experienced an experience like this without having to die and come back. There was this guy online who unfortunately got involved within a plane crash And it was through dying in the plane crash and becoming horribly disfigured that he experienced this white light, which we both described in the same way, which was strange because I described it in this way before I even saw his video. When I was saying to my friends that I'd seen this beautiful light, I said it was whiter than the whitest snow and brighter than the 10,000 suns. And then I saw that on video and I got the chills. This is your potential. I'm Ryan JC, and I'll speak to you guys pretty soon. Peace.